Something serious is happening right now in West Africa, and the world needs to pay attention. In the heart of Burkina Faso, a young leader has risen with one mission: to take back control of his country's future. His name is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, not backed by billionaires or foreign interests, but by his people, by young Africans who are tired of poverty, tired of fake promises, and tired of being told what to do with their own land and resources. Traoré didn't come into power through corruption or by selling out. He came in with courage, with a vision, and with the hope of millions behind him. But when a leader dares to say no to outside control and puts his nation first, he becomes a threat to the very systems that have exploited Africa for decades. That's exactly what's happening now. There are powerful people both inside and outside the country who want him out. And not because he's doing nothing, but because he's doing too much. They say he's stalling, that he won't hold elections. But how do you organize elections when your country is under constant attack from terrorists and foreign-backed militias? How do you build a future when your present is under siege? These same voices calling for elections are the ones who stayed silent when previous leaders were looting the country. But now that someone is standing up, building clinics, investing in agriculture, creating local industries, and keeping gold within the nation, they're panicking. Why? Because a strong, independent Africa doesn't serve their interests. Even worse, many of the threats Traoré faces aren't coming from far away. They're coming from those closest to him, from the inside. That's how most African revolutions have been stopped. Not always by foreign hands directly, but by our own people bought, pressured, or misled into tearing down the very leaders fighting for our freedom. On April 1st and on April 15th, 2025, Ibrahim Traoré and Ministry of Defense addressed his people with clarity and strength. They didn't sugarcoat the truth. They didn't hide behind empty words. They spoke from the heart. What they said that day is something every African and every friend of Africa should hear and reflect on. Because this isn't just about Burkina Faso. This is about the whole continent, about how long we'll allow others to decide our destiny, about whether we'll keep watching the same cycle repeat, or finally say, enough. We stopped traitors. We stopped people guilty of treason because they're selling the honor and the future of our country to the foreigners. Why?
Nous sommes le 1er avril aujourd'hui, qui marque donc le début du deuxième trimestre de l'année 2025, et bien sûr donc la fin du premier trimestre.
Today is the 1st of April, marking the beginning of the second quarter of 2025, and, of course, the end of the first quarter. I suppose that all the heads of offices, heads of services, have been able to assess this first quarter and also give themselves perspectives for the second quarter. In any case, I think the idea is to sacrifice ourselves, to always give the best of ourselves for the happiness of our people, and so that our country can shine. So I invite everyone to be able to draw new lines for the second quarter, to give the best of yourself, both in service but also in everyday life, so that our country can continue to shine. As for the different combatant forces on the ground, I would like to pay tribute to them here for the exceptional work that has been done throughout the past quarter. We have been able to progress significantly on the ground. We have been able to reconquer areas that were under terrorist attack 4 or 5 years ago. We have been able to free these areas. Other areas are currently in the process of consolidation, which is a very significant progress, but also to call on the other forces in these areas who are in a relative calm. to be vigilant in permanent war, because the enemy's perfidy means that when we are in a relative calm and we lower our attention, we can often be hit. So I invite everyone who is in a relative security position to always be vigilant and not be surprised. And to the other forces living in the nation, I invite all the workers to double their hard work. So that 2025 is a year of success at all levels. And as for the people, I would therefore invite people to be vigilant, because today, more than ever, the apatrides, the enemies of the nation, are very active, and you can see it. On the side of the lagoon, they have been meeting for several days. Their goal is to make Burkina live up to the events of 1987. So let's forget that times have changed, and we are on the brink of war. We are waiting for them firmly, their mercenaries and their actions. And I want to say it, we will be ruthless. They can keep coming, but Burkina will continue. And that's why, since last time, I invited everyone to be very vigilant, not to give in to manipulation. As you can see, their actions are based on disinformation, manipulation, subversion. Everyone must be able to remain calm with the objective in front of them, so as not to let themselves be led astray. Because we will also be without a state of mind for those who are going to be manipulated. Only those who are stupid, those who want everything for themselves, can be manipulated by these apatrides. Let's stay focused, and if we have to say it loud and clear here, we are not in a democracy. We are in a revolution, a popular, progressive revolution. Everyone must understand that. And it is more surprising that those who are supposed to be the intellectuals who built the school can imagine that a country can develop in democracy. It is false. When we mention a single country that has developed in democracy, it is not possible. Democracy is only the culmination. We are necessarily going through a revolution, and we are indeed a revolution. Those who have not understood it, we still say it loud and clear. Everyone must incorporate this. It is our role to communicate, to explain, to make people understand what our revolution is. We will continue to play it. Therefore, this question of democracy or libertinism, of action or expression, has no place. I said it once. As much as you think that you are free to speak and to act, the other is free to speak and to act as well. And there, we end up in a society of disorder. And as it happens, although we are in the middle of these patriotic days, the theme is order and discipline. We do not make a revolution in disorder. It is impossible. We will make order and discipline prevail so that we can progress. Because social, economic, political, ideological reforms need order and discipline. And everyone has their role to play in this. So, appropriate the revolution, because many people for 2 years now have embarked on the boat by opportunism. We are surfing on giant waves. We are in the storm. We are in very strong headwinds. And these people will never be able to stay in the boat. Gradually, they will fall into the water, and you will see them. But we will continue, because our goal is to find calm waters and to be able to sail. When we leave the storm on calm waters, I think we will surf without any problem. So, invite everyone to be vigilant, because the enemy has recruited and still recruits traitors. Not more than a few days ago, traitors were arrested. And who do I call a traitor? It is those who are among us who continue to work, to be agents for the embassies of imperialist countries implanted in Burkina Faso. Some have been arrested, and we will continue to unmask others. They are there in our administration. They are there in civil society organizations. They are there in political organizations. And they manipulate others to lead them on paths, in any case, contrary to the progress of our country. And it is when we arrest them that we realize that they are agents of these countries, of the embassies of these imperialist countries implanted here in Burkina Faso. Let us remain vigilant because our revolution does not please many people. These valets loquats, these sub-prefects who are there to execute the orders of their masters, believing that they can put an end to our revolution, let them understand that we have taken all the necessary measures. And I say it once again, we will be ruthless and heartless against those who think they can put themselves through the development of our country. We will continue our revolution. We will develop our infrastructures, whether on the side of health, on the side of education, whether on the road infrastructure. We will develop our industry, transform what we want, and consume what we have transformed. Burkina will shine. We are pleased with those who still have the nostalgia of the 1980s, I repeat. So stay focused, stay vigilant, mark your milestones for the next quarter and for the rest of the year, and we will stay on this path of victory. We will continue to fight on the ground, to reconquer our different areas, and I can assure you that the progress made, the lands reconquered in this first quarter, are of strategic order, and that allowed us to go to the border. And that is very remarkable. We will continue in this direction, zone by zone, step by step, to clean up the territory and reconquer the entirety of our country. Thank you all, have a good week, and good luck for the next quarter. Be the ones who carry our ideology within the popular mass. Thank you, have a very good day, and may God bless our dear country. The country or death, we will win. Thank you. Thank you.
Communiqué. Il y a quelques semaines de cela,
Press release. Several weeks ago, intelligence services intercepted several communications between an individual and terrorist leaders concerning details of the positions of the internal defense and security forces, volunteers for the defense of the homeland, and military operations. After thorough technical analysis, the individual is identified as Bari Abdurrahman and is found to be an officer in the Burkinabe Armed Forces. He is identified as belonging to the Military Justice Battalion. Searching for information about him in his unit will allow intelligence agents to discover that the officer has been irregularly absent for several weeks and is subject to desertion proceedings. Surveillance of the communications of the deserter Lieutenant Bari Abdurrahman will provide additional links that will interest the intelligence services, particularly with an armed forces officer named Compaoré Joani, a former non-commissioned officer of the Burkinabe army named Zerbo Laoko, an officer serving at the Integrated Operations Center of Burkina Faso, Commander Ouedraogo Frederick, an armed forces officer on assignment in a European country, but a deserter for some time, and who has joined Abidjan named Kabore Constantine. The meticulous work of the intelligence services will reveal a large conspiracy being prepared against our country, the ultimate goal of which is to sow total chaos in order to place the country under the tutelage of an international organization capable of regaining control in 10 or 20 years, according to the instigators. Sensitive information has been passed to terrorists in order to intensify attacks against fighting forces and civilians in order to incite revolt against the authorities. Also, other strategies have been developed to disorient the intelligence services in order to lead them to make mass arrests within the internal defense and security forces and thus hope to create frustrations and a feeling of fear.
Et espérer ainsi créer des frustrations et un sentiment de peur. La manipulation est menée également.
Manipulation is also carried out through messages disseminated to unjustly incite some and other messages sent to corps commanders to frighten them by indicating that they will be arrested because they are on a so-called blacklist. Religious and customary leaders have been solicited to convince certain officers to engage in this disastrous mission. This was unfortunately the case with Captain René David Ouedraogo, who is currently on the run. Similarly, VDPs were contacted to demoralize their comrades, and money was sent to them for this low task. All these perfidious stratagems were developed with the sole aim of destructuring the army and sowing chaos. The intelligence services followed the maneuver, which, according to the plan of the terrorist plotters, should culminate on Wednesday, April 16, 2025, in an assault on the presidency of Faso by a group of soldiers recruited by the enemies of the nation. This assault should be carried out at the same time as several large-scale terrorist attacks to occupy air vectors, failing to be able to destroy them on the ground. A few days before the implementation of this diabolical project, VDPs and patriotic soldiers presented themselves to several services, including intelligence and the presidency of Faso, to denounce the coup being prepared. These denunciations continued until Tuesday, April 15, 2025, and made it possible to arrest the masterminds of the maneuver in Ouagadougou and others fleeing to Côte d'Ivoire. It should be noted that the masterminds outside the country are all located in Côte d'Ivoire, including Bari Abdourahmane. The plot is actively continuing from their operations center in Abidjan, with the objective of sowing chaos in Burkina Faso before the month of June. The intelligence services are continuing their surveillance actions and will keep the national public informed of any developments in the situation. Several other people involved are being monitored and will face the consequences of their actions in due course. We invite the populations to remain calm and vigilant and to report any suspicious activity. As for the valiant fighting forces, we encourage them to continue their mission with determination while remaining vigilant. Homeland or death, we will win.